Let's talk to Richard Lane first. This is your client board. Goodness, you've scaled, you're on the first few years of Scale Up, and look at all these clients you're working with. Tell us about what you do, the outsourcing business, and how it can help people in this room.
So Durham Lane is a sales performance business. We spend our time creating new opportunities for our customers, qualifying those, building data, market intelligence, prospecting into new sectors, doing the dirty work, the cold calling, the email campaigning, the prospecting, the marketing, that type of activity.
Okay, so we'll just put a few bits of data about your business on the board here. You've got £1 million turnover, you make a good profit, £250,000 profit, and you've got more than 30 staff. How long have you been going?
2 more staff joining next week, actually. So we started in 1st of April 2011. So I've started 2 businesses actually on April Fool's Day, which I'm not sure if it has significance, but so we're just over the 5.5-year period at the moment.
Okay, so it's 5 years to this first million. Talk about the key milestones. I identified a few in my remarks, but what were your key milestones?
Yeah, so I've always been very comfortable with that desire to build a business. I actually left corporate world in 2009 and had my own business for a couple of years, and was really enjoying it. I had my small number of clients, but I had this nagging feeling that I want more. I want to leave something and go back. And then in 2011, I met with Lee Durham and we created Durham Lane. And some of those challenges, I mean, hiring the right people is probably the key piece. And some of those brand names that you put up there, you always get an amazing feeling when someone like a British Gas Centrica is willing to work with you as a small company. We work with a lot of scale-up businesses, so when Xero said, we want you to help us drive our business throughout the UK, those were just amazing moments.
Fantastic. Well, let's talk about the next stage of the journey. There's a few key points here. You've got new premises. You've decided that you need to be in the north and the south, which is a big decision, of course.
Yeah, feet on the street. We had a board meeting, and I think probably one of the things that has really helped us over the last few years is getting that board of advisors and people that have experience that can help us make the big decisions. And I actually walked away from that strategy session thinking, why haven't we done this before? It seems so obvious to have other offices. And I worked out myself, actually, I came to my own conclusion. 2 things really. One is that we didn't have the right people in the business that we could move to a new area to represent us effectively. And secondly, we didn't have the people in the business that could step into the shoes that were being vacated. And that went live 5-6 weeks ago, won our first contract with those guys. I've talked to lots of people previously about setting up offices, and I do believe you have to have the DNA of your business represented in that new space. And so 2 of our guys have gone down, we've paid for their accommodation for a year, we've put them in a lovely place, we've got a nice office, they're happy. If they're happy, they're likely to work really well for us, and it seems to be working out.
You've also bought business to help grow. A little bit of acquisition in these early years.
Yeah, a little bit. If anyone knows my business partner Lee Durham, then he's always on the lookout for new. Acquisition is clearly an option when it comes to growth. Another part of our business is training. We have our own methodology, selling at a high level, and we train a lot of organisations in how to sell and how to think more commercially. And actually what we've started doing with the Think 3 acquisition is, one, we've got an amazing person into our business, Alison, who's joined us as a director, but it takes us into that commercial leadership space. And I'm always really conscious that we have to be at the top table because sales activity tends to be downstream. The problem isn't what do we do about it, the problem is, well, what is the problem and then what do we do about it? So.
Sales is always a difficult area for companies which are product-based, when the owners of the business are absolutely dedicated to their product, particularly if it's a physical product they've made, or and they know about their product more than about selling their product. And the sales metrics are sometimes difficult to get a grip of. And it strikes me that in your own business, you apply the sales metrics and the methodical approach to data that you also advise your business clients to apply.
Yeah, and I'm really not a fan of that old school of selling. Who's proud of the sale? Who's in the sales profession, by the way? Just quick. Any salespeople out there? Yeah. First word that comes to mind when you think of salespeople?
Pushy.
Well, yeah. So. They're very polite.
Very good.
I love asking that question because part of what we're trying to do is sort of raise the bar of the sales profession. And you know, those old school metrics, if you make 100 dials, you'll speak to 10 people,
Yeah.
maybe you'll get 3 presentations and 1 deal. It doesn't work like that anymore. More and more is being done, we were talking about this earlier, but more and more is being done before they've even spoken to anyone. So how can you be smart about it? How can you think differently? And one thing we've adopted, and I think it's been part of our most rapid growth recently, is the 70-20-10 learning model. My background's in, always been in sales, but in learning and development. And they say that we learn 70% of what we do on the job, 20% through coaching, so sitting with someone and being shown how to do it and help through it, and 10% through formal training. And we've really embedded that into how we work, and that's where I think we're seeing the growth. So, you know, working smart, working hard, employing great people.
Well, it seems to be working. You're scaling up. You're at the beginning of the scale up, but you're doing it effectively. And to have, what, 25% profit, that's fantastic. Well done, Richard. Thank you for joining us. Richard Lane, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.